Welcome to a new story made by Oracle 1. Tea for the Empress. In the still heart of the Forbidden City, where jade tiles glinted beneath the pale dawn and red lacquered beams rose like a forest of ancient trees, a quiet tension lingered beneath the ornate serenity. This was the era of Empress Dowager Cixi, a woman both revered and reviled, whose iron grip and clever mind shaped the destiny of the Qing dynasty in the twilight years of imperial China. Amidst the winding corridors and gilded halls, where eunuchs and concubines moved like shadows in silk, there lived a humble servant named Lian Hua. Lian Hua was but a lowly attendant in the vast imperial court, assigned each morning to the delicate task of brewing tea for the Dowager Empress herself. Though her position was modest, her role was essential. The tea was not merely a drink but a ritual. The precise balance of leaves, water, temperature, and timing, a process imbued with spiritual significance. Lian Hua understood this as well as anyone, having been trained from childhood in the art of tea. The delicate fragrance of dried jasmine blossoms, the bitter sweetness of green leaves, the clean purity of mountain spring water. These were the ingredients that whispered the secrets of the palace. Her journey to this place had begun far from the grandeur of the Forbidden City. Born in a small village in the mountainous outskirts of Anhui province, Lian Hua had known hardship since her earliest days. Her family, once modestly prosperous, was shattered by famine and disease. At the tender age of 10, Lian Hua was sold to a merchant who trafficked servants to the capital. The city's massive walls had promised opportunity and salvation, but they also imprisoned her in a new world of rules and hierarchies. Yet, it was her keen mind and quiet determination that rose above hardship. She learned the arts valued by the imperial household, the cultivation of discretion, the practice of diligence, and, most importantly, the service of tea. As she grew into adolescence, her skill with tea proved unmatched, earning her placement in the inner court, a privilege few servants were granted. Each morning, while the palace still lay swathed in mist, Lian Hua would enter the Empress Dowager's chamber, one of the few women allowed this honor, and begin preparing the ritual. The Empress, an imposing figure cloaked in silks embroidered with dragons and phoenixes, depended on the calm precision of this ceremony to center herself before the day's demands. Lian Hua learned to read the subtle changes in Cixi's mood by the way she held the cup, the flicker in her eyes, the tension around her lips. But the tea room was not merely a place of quiet preparation. It was a crossroads where whispered stories floated like steam from the boiling water. On one hand, there were the trappings of imperial power, provided by eunuchs who shuffled documents and palace maids who polished jade ornaments. On the other, the secret politics that remained hidden from the prying eyes of even the highest officials. One late autumn morning, as the ginkgo trees shed their golden leaves outside, Lian Hua discovered something extraordinary. While retrieving discarded tea leaves wrapped in crimson silk, she noticed a folded piece of paper tucked beneath the jade tea table. Her heart thudding, she unfolded it to reveal a series of characters, carefully penned yet cryptic. It was a letter, not meant for her eyes, bearing the seal of Prince Gong, an influential nobleman with a reputation for scheming. The letter outlined plans to undermine the influence of a rival faction close to the Empress Dowager, aiming to force her hand in political decisions. It was indirect but unmistakable enough to sow discord within the court. Lian Hua realized that this was more than palace intrigue. It was a dangerous game of power that could end in bloodshed. The discovery posed a terrible dilemma. Should she ignore the letter and continue serving quietly, or should she act, risking everything to alert the Dowager Empress? The consequences of betrayal, of misstep, were severe. The fate of servants found meddling in politics was often a tortuous death or permanent banishment to the cold northern frontiers. Her nights became restless as she brewed the Empress's tea each dawn, weighing the cost of silence against the peril of truth. Lien Hua recalled the stories she had heard in the kitchens and quarters, the rise and fall of ministers, the secret alliances stitched together like embroideries in silk, the whispered curses cast in corridors hidden from daylight. One evening, after the halls settled into slumber, Lien Hua resolved to speak directly to one whom she trusted deeply, Mei Lin, the Empress's chief lady-in-waiting. Mei Lin was known for her sharp wit and unwavering loyalty to Cixi. She was a woman who understood that survival in the Forbidden City required both courage and discretion. Under the veil of night, Lien Hua approached Mei Lin's chambers, her footsteps muffled on the polished stone floors. When the door creaked open, Mei Lin's eyes narrowed suspiciously before softening once she recognized the servant's urgency. Reluctantly, and with many glances over their shoulders, Lien Hua unfolded the letter. Mei Lin read it carefully, understanding the stakes immediately. "This is treason," she whispered. "If it reaches the Empress's rivals, chaos will reign. But this is a blade aimed beneath her throne." Together, they devised a plan. Tomorrow, when Lien Hua served the Empress her morning tea, she would slip the letter into the delicate porcelain cup with the silver dragon motif, an object the dowager prized and handled only herself. Mei Lin would stand nearby to observe, ready to intervene if necessary. The next dawn broke cold and crisp. The palace awoke in a hush, as though sensing the gravity of the day. In the vast chamber where the Empress held court with painted screens and carved wood, Lien Hua prepared the tea as always, her hands steady despite the turmoil within. Carefully, she placed the folded letter beneath the cup, covering it with the saucer as if part of the ritual. The Empress took the cup with her usual exacting grace, her sharp eyes briefly meeting Lien Hua's before closing in contemplation. She lifted the cup to her lips. Suddenly, a servant tripped outside the chamber, a clatter echoing off the marble floors. Cixi's gaze snapped up like a tiger awakened from rest. "Bring the girl here," the dowager commanded. Heart-pounding, Lien Hua approached slowly. The Empress's eyes, once steely, softened for a moment. "You brought something for me?" she asked, indicating the cup. There is a letter, Your Majesty," Lien stammered. Without hesitation, the dowager lifted the saucer and unfolded the letter. Her eyes darted across the characters, lips pressed into a thin line. A hush fell upon the room. "This letter was meant to divide my court, to poison trust," Cixi said, voice cold as winter's breath. "Who gave this to you, girl?" Lien Hua hesitated before truth spilled from her accurately measured lips. "It was found beneath the tea table, Empress. I wished to make no trouble, but the words troubled me." The dowager was silent for long moments, then nodded with faint approval. "Good. You have served your Empress well." Her gaze lingered, studying the servant's pale, earnest face. "You will come with me." In the hidden chambers of the palace, where only the Empress and her trusted confidants convened, the truth of the letter was unmasked. The dowager revealed that Prince Gong had indeed been aligned with factions aiming to curtail her authority. This discovery would allow her to act decisively in consolidating power. But it also meant Lien Hua, a servant from the shadows, had become an unexpected player in palace destiny. Days passed, and the palace shifted like a ship steering through turbulent seas. Alliances crumbled, new edicts were written, and servants whispered of a mysterious hand guiding the Empress. Lien Hua's role was altered too. She was no longer simply a tea servant but a quiet confidant, trusted to keep secrets as much as to prepare her perfect brew. One afternoon, as she steamed the delicate leaves for the Empress, Cixi confided in her with rare openness. "You understand the power of small things, Lien Hua. A cup of tea, a folded letter. Each can shift the course of an empire. Her voice grew softer. Remember, those who serve well see more than the throne sees. Lien Hua bowed deeply, understanding that her life was irrevocably changed. In the vast labyrinth of the Forbidden City, where ambitions festered beneath polished surfaces and silk robes, she had brewed more than tea, she had brewed change. Weeks turned into months, and the court settled into a new order. Prince Gong and his followers were quietly removed from influence, replaced by allies loyal to the Empress. Cixi continued to navigate the treacherous waters of politics with unmatched cunning, her legend growing with every calculated move. Lien Hua remained by her side, an unassuming servant who had glimpsed the unseen world behind the grand facade. She learned more than she ever imagined. How trust was both currency and weapon, how knowledge held power greater than 1,000 soldiers, and how the smallest hands could shape history. Years later, when the Qing dynasty finally gave way to the rising tides of modernity, and the Forbidden City grew silent under foreign suns, tales of a tea servant who had glimpsed destiny beneath the steam would survive in whispered legend. For in the palace where the past and future entwined like curling incense smoke, even the simplest act, a cup of tea, could change the course of emperors. Like and subscribe for more stories.